I want to kick things off with how important Snapshot is. So it's really where everything starts before we go to see a customer. And what we tried to do when we were building Snapshot is to make it be a salesperson's best friend and give them data that probably the client doesn't even know, that is valuable and can start a conversation with a potential customer. And all you need to run a Snapshot report is the name of the business and the zip code or the phone number. So let's see how that looks. So when you log into the Snapshot area, Sales Central we call it, we can create an account. We select the country, we put the phone number in, and then we press search. And pretty much instantly, Snapshot gives us some data. What you'll find numerous times is that it'll show you a number of different businesses that it could be, and it'll ask you to select which business it is. So this is a very important step, because this is where we might find a multiple location opportunity. When we put in a potential business that we're prospecting, sometimes we don't even know that they have multiple locations. So we input that information around the phone number or the name of the business and the zip code, and the software goes out and tells us everything that looks like that. So it may identify old listings of old businesses, it may identify multiple locations, and hopefully in this list is your business that you're prospecting. So it does give us some additional information. Select the business, and then we go to work. And Snapshot's going to ask you for some additional data. And I want to talk about common names. So we have the name of the business, and this happens to be a very popular restaurant in South Beach in Miami called Prime 112 Restaurant. That is the name of that business. But most people will just say, meet me at Prime, or meet me at Prime 112 at 5 o'clock for dinner. It's important that we get those nicknames of a business. A lot of businesses are known by their nickname, not their legal LLC, the limited liability company name. So by putting the nickname in, the software is able to go out and find other comments that are made about the business. And we surface that information in the Mentions tab in Reputation Intelligence. So those nicknames are really important. A good friend of mine owns a chain of restaurants called Original Joe's Steakhouse and Bar. But nobody calls it Original Joe's Steakhouse and Bar. Everybody just says, meet me at OJ's for half-price wine night. So we want to make sure that we get those nicknames in there. Reviews come from structured data sources. That's where we're going to find reviews for Prime 112 Restaurant. But there's a whole bunch of other places where people are talking about businesses online. And the Mentions tab gets its information from these common names. We also have the market that you're creating the snapshot in if you're one of our partners that uses multiple markets, and then business category. The first line of business category is important. It has to be there. That's where you're going to select whether it's a restaurant or whether it's a lounge or whether it's a club or whether it's a car dealer or whether it's a doctor or a lawyer. And then we have a second tier of taxonomy under business category that you can select where we can get further information. So restaurants, and it's steakhouse. The more data that you put in, the better the report. Now, for some clients that we're just prospecting, we may not know very much about them. But for others that we're working with on a day-to-day basis, that we have a relationship with, we should fill in the other information that we know about. What service categories are they in? Do they have any additional phone numbers? And maybe their social profiles, if we haven't found them, we might want to enter in if we know they have a social profile. And then the contact person, and then around competition. So Snapshot guesses who the competitors are. It looks at the business, it goes to Yelp, and it takes a look in a 5-block radius and says these could be competitors. A lot of times those aren't going to be perfect. So you want to drill them, especially on a client that you know very well, you want to drill down and put the actual competitors in there. So that's where you would change these fields if it didn't come up correctly and get that right. And now we're going to create the report. And when we create the report, Snapshot warns us. And it says, wait, George, you're missing some data. Some of the optional fields are missing, and if you fill these in, you're going to get a better report. In other words, salesperson, do more work. So I'm a salesperson. I don't like doing a lot of work. I like the fact that I can just go up and create this report, but I use it pretty much every day and speak to it very well. When you start working with Snapshot, try and get as much data in here as you can. As time goes on, you will be able to put less data in. So just so that you know that. But out of the gate, put as much in as you can because it's going to teach you more and more about how to have this conversation with a customer. What Snapshot enables you to do is to be able to go out and cold call a client that you've never talked to before and have an intelligent conversation around their virtual doorway. We now have our report. And we can create that report in 10 minutes. And I do this lots. We'll go out on a sales call with a sales representative. We'll get to the client, and I'll say, hey, where's the Snapshot report? And they'll say, oh, I don't have that. So we will connect it to a hotspot on our phone, and we'll go in a laptop, and we'll create it in a parking lot. And 10 minutes later, we can go in and have a conversation with the client. So that's what's happened here. We now have Prime 112. We can click on the snapshot button and we can start to go into the snapshot report. Now let's go digging. Let's find the nuggets. Let's find the things that we want to talk about when it comes to presenting to the customer about their virtual doorway. And I like to call this the report of pain. It shows a lot of problems. So we want to set that stage from the right moment. So first thing you want to do, make sure you got your photo up there. I like that. Anytime that I can brand myself as a salesperson is great. I work with lots of salespeople in the media space, and they go in to call on a client. They're the newspaper rep, but then there's the TV rep, and then there's the radio rep, and then there's other reps that are called. Any time that I can get my name and my photo out there in front of my prospective clients, especially a brand new customer, it's a fantastic thing. And then we have the branding of the organization, and we have call to action buttons. So if you were to just email this to the customer, which you could do, they can click a button and it'll send you an alert. So the Snapshot system automatically sends an alert if the customer takes any action within the Snapshot report. And that alert comes to the salesperson's email address, and it's automatic. So if you email a Snapshot report out to a client and they go, I want this, it's just going to send you an alert as a salesperson. It's going to say, get a hold of that client, they're a hot lead. So that's pretty exciting stuff, and it's automatic. It just happens under the hood. So that is from the email application. The other thing is we put the phone number in here, we put more branding in, because I've done lots of presentations, and a lot of times you don't have everybody that makes the decision on the call. So you make a presentation to the husband, and he has to go home because the wife holds a checkbook. And how is he going to present it if you don't take it out in paper and leave him a copy of it on the desk? You can't leave your iPad, or you can't leave your desktop computer. So it's probably in your best interest to print the thing out, kill a couple of trees, because a lot of times you don't have all the decision makers in the call, and you want to be able to tell that story. This is the anchor data. This is the stuff we use to create the report. If this is wrong, everything is going to be off. It's going to be skewed. As time goes on, this won't bother you if it's wrong. You'll still be able to have the conversation. But out of the gate, if you've got the wrong phone number in here, redo it. So I always like to clarify that with the client. Is this how you want to be seen? Client goes, yes, great, carry on. If they say no, and you're a newbie, and you've just started using this thing, say, I'm going to do a new report. If you've been using it for 6 years, you'll be able to still have a conversation around this. But out of the gate, it's very difficult to do if this data is wrong. And then we have the overall score. And again, this is where it's the report of pain. It's tough to get a good score here. We're really strict on it. If they've got little problems, it's going to give them a low score. And sometimes that offends the business person. So you have to talk around how you've got a solution. It's going to be okay. Don't freak out. Everybody's got a low score. We're going to show you how to fix it. The problem that salespeople have, if they have been advertising salespeople, for instance, and I work with lots of them, we are the force for good. Our sales managers tell us every day, regardless of what happens, oil prices go up, down, people get laid off at the plants in town, go out there and be positive. And this is difficult because this is not the report of positive. This is the report of negative. So it's very important that as we highlight the negative pieces, we come to the rescue with a solution. So that's what we're going to talk about, is the talk track around this. And we're helping you because we put a bunch of the script in here. So this text, and this is just placeholder text, this text is a script. And it is based upon what the score is. There's a different script for a C than there is for an A. And this should become your script as a salesperson. We've tested this in the field with thousands of calls on thousands of accounts. We know it works. In fact, we've recorded videos as well. So if that person takes action through the email, they click the video, they're going to hear a talk track, and I'm giving you that talk track today that we know works. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. The first piece of Snapshot is around where the business is present. So we go out and we have a look across all of the sources that we have a relationship with. We call these primary listing sources, and we say you are found on this number, and your industry is found on whatever it might be. We always compare to the industry average, and we always use that to our advantage. We say, you got to catch up because everybody else in the plumbing business is beating you. They have more listing sites than you do, and we can help. We can help get you listed on more places. Perfect. That's fantastic. Or you're missing a very important social site, which this right here on this example happens to be Google+. Very important piece. Number one, most important place for a business to be listed is Google+. I've got a solution for you as a salesperson. Again, the prescription to the problem. And then the accuracy. So presence is one story. Accuracy is a complete different story. You may be present in lots of places, but your accuracy, and I love using this word, is atrocious. It's 16%. So out of all the places that you're listed, even though you've got 12 of them, most of them you got the wrong data there. And what is it? Well, we've got 5 with the wrong phone number, and the client will tell you about that number. They'll go, oh, that's an old number, or that's our fax number, or that's a number of our competitor. So they will point out how wrong it is. Maybe it's called tracking number, and that could happen. They'll go, that is our number. You take that number then and you put it into the additional 5 phone numbers that exist in Snapshot, so then it grades that as right. But right now, that doesn't match the anchor data that we have on that business. So that's how to speak to the nuggets around listings. Now let's talk about data provider accuracy. These 4 companies control all the data online. This is the listing distribution solution. Newstar, Factual, Axiom, and Info Group. They take that data, they push it out to 309 places. We had a great little video that we play right here that talks all about listing distribution. I would submit to you that you might just want to play that video for the customer. Why would you want to go through that entire conversation when you got a beautiful 2-minute video that explains how it all works? It makes you look really professional. So just click on that video. It's a nice little animation. It's got a nice voice on it. Sounds fantastic, tells the story. But here is the story. Mr. Business Person, it's okay. You have accurate listings on Newstar and Factual, and you're not found on Axiom, and that's not that bad. But here's the problem. On Info Group, your listing has errors, and that information is being sent all over the internet. That's where some of those listings are wrong. So what listing distribution does is creates the environment for listings to be improved. It gets the right data at the top, and then the top pushes it out to the 309 places, and eventually those robots at those listing sources accept that data. Search engines, review sites, social sites. Here's what the 309 look like. I don't mind showing this because when you show this to a customer, they go, oh, I'm never going to get that right if I don't work with this company. There's no way. They don't even know who to talk to at these places. So listing distribution. I want to warn you. Please do not use the term clean up your listings. Because I don't know if you stayed at a hotel lately. You go to a hotel and you stay for 2 nights. And you say the first night you leave some towels and stuff all over the floor, maybe you use a soap container and you leave that laying out, and the person comes and cleans your room. And if they don't pick up the towels and they don't pick up the soap that you left on the floor, that room is not clean. So when you create the environment that I'm going to clean up your listings, and I hear salespeople make this claim all the time, that's not what listing distribution does. It gets your listings right on the data providers, which then send it out to the 309 places. And we don't know when those 309 places accept the data. It could take quite some time. In fact, a year could go by and they may not accept the data on a certain site. What we can do is create an environment where those listings are done. Now, if you are employing a premium visibility solution where a person goes in, contacts Google on behalf of your customer, and claims Google+, you can guarantee that. We're going to get that done in X number of days. But on the listing distribution thing, if you say, hey, buy this thing in a year, all your listings are going to be clean. They're going to be right. They're going to be claimed. They're going to be cleansed. All the words that people use, it will let you down every time because that's not what it does. So we want to set the correct expectation. If you're going to sell listing distribution, what you sell is we're going to go to the 4 data providers. We're going to get the data right. They're going to send it out for a year. That's what you pay for. And eventually, some of those sites will start to collect that correct data. Now, we will go and claim YP.com and Google Plus and Bing, and maybe you have that in the premium visibility solution. You can say that's going to be done in X number of days. That's how you sell it. That's how you sell it so it doesn't churn. Nuggets around Snapshot for reviews. Let's talk about what we dig up for reviews. This thing goes one of 3 ways. The business either has no reviews, they have negative reviews, or they have an unmanaged but healthy review pipeline. And you can learn that right here. Number of reviews found, top line, 148 reviews found on OpenTable and others. It's actually found on 13 review sources. 13 places that client has to log in every day, every week, every month to see what's being said about them. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen on 4. They need the automated solution that you're providing with Reputation Intelligence, where you just put their email addresses in and they just get sent out. Review comes in today, tomorrow morning they open their email and there it is in all its glory. Didn't have to log into anything. And not just that person. I would submit to you that you do a little bit of research and you find out who are the key decision makers in the company. And they'll say, well, we have an assistant manager and we have this manager and we got 2 partners. Oh, and one of our partners, he lives in Florida. He's not even here. They need this. Because then that guy can get the reviews and he can see the job that the management team is doing. When you start to read through reviews, you can see customers that aren't being served properly, customers that are being served properly. It's really good intelligence about the business. And the number of reviews found in the last 6 months. So they've got 7.5 found per month in the last 6 months. That's a healthy review pipeline. And they've actually had some that have come in lately, which is now an important stat that's just started to become important in the last 6 months. So your presentation goes one of 3 ways. No reviews, you help them get some reviews. Negative reviews, you help them get some reviews to bury the negative reviews because it's just a numbers game. They got a whole bunch of reviews, they need you even more because you're going to manage those reviews. Review response. It is a massive business. It's growing like crazy because what we found since 2011 when we started selling reputation monitoring is business people came back in droves and they said, oh, it's great that you gave us this information, but what are we going to do about it? We thought that businesses would want to respond to reviews. They'd want to talk to their customers, but guess what? They don't. They just want to sell widgets or whatever they do. So selling review response is a very important piece where you say, hey, Mr. Business Person, we, agency XYZ, are just going to take care of this for you. We're going to monitor all those channels, and if somebody leaves a negative review, we'll draft a response, and we'll follow these 3 steps. Say you're sorry, leave some marketing, and provide some contact information that can resolve the review offline. Now, what do I mean by leave some marketing? Say something that negates what was said in the negative review, because a lot of times when you respond to a review, you're never going to talk to that customer. You're talking to the 90% of US consumers that use online reviews to make their buying decisions and showing that you're engaging in customer service. You want to position the presentation in the review portion as a management tool because that's what it is. It helps you manage your business better. It shows you what's being said about your business online without you having to go log into, for this client, 13 different places. This slide, we're going to provide this deck to you, and this slide is available so that you can go in there and change the name of those people. So I'm in a presentation with Bob Simpson and Terry Simpson, his wife, and Tom Benson, their assistant manager. Put their names in there. Take the 2 seconds to personalize that for the client so they can go, oh, that's how it works. Because we're already 15 minutes into this presentation with the client, and their head is swimming from the 309 sources. So the more things that you can bring this down to the lowest common denominator, listings, we're going to get them right in the 4 sources. We're going to claim the big 4. We're going to give you reviews so that you can take action on them without having to log into anything. Now, they can do all that other stuff, but I'm telling you right now that the email delivery of the reviews is one of the key components as to why people buy. Let's talk a little bit about social performance. Basically what this is, we put the Facebook, the Twitter, the Foursquare in, and we show you how you're performing against your competitors. How many likes you have versus the industry average, how many posts, how many times people like and share your posts. And then we show a little bit of the comments that are going on Facebook. And then the same thing with Twitter. But let's talk about the website piece. We're going to delve deeper into social in a few moments, but let's talk about the website piece. These grades are Google's grades for a website. We didn't make this stuff up. Google has a set of grades as to what makes a good website, what makes a bad website. So when you log the website in, it's going to give you an overall score. And a lot of times it's not good because the website is too big. It can't load quickly. It hasn't been optimized, meaning the guy that built it didn't really know the things that he needs to do. Or maybe it was good 3 years ago and it's just not good today. So the reason that that's important is you got a D. The client goes, oh, that's horrible. Why did I get a D? I paid a lot of money for that website. My nephew built that thing, or whatever the case might be. You got to be able to explain to them why they got a D and why it's bad. The reason why it's bad, when somebody goes to a mobile device to load your website, it takes forever. And you have 8 seconds to impact somebody when they land on the website. 8 seconds to find the address, to find the phone number, to find their social profiles. And that's why that's so important. Phone number on homepage, address on homepage, Facebook on homepage, Twitter on homepage. So this business is doing not bad. We found them, but the site is double the size that it should be, so it doesn't load very quickly. It's important that you surface the fact that it's Google's grading and that you can help them with this, with a mobile-friendly site that loads quickly. And that is within our Presence Builder program. This actually is a mobile-friendly solution for Rusty Taco. And it's got the large buttons on it. But when you see the one you got to pinch to move around in it, then that's not necessarily a mobile-friendly solution. And at the conclusion of the snapshot report, we always have the call to action. And at the bottom of this call to action, I've got this little static piece. So if you were viewing this on a desktop computer or on an email, this static piece stays there. And it says, build your online presence for free, get started. And by clicking that button, it gives you a login for every snapshot that you create. We call it a freemium. It's something you can leave with the customer, and then we will push them there with marketing automation. We use marketing automation to drive them to that business center. So a lot of this has been set up so that it can operate within our 10X system, which I'm going to touch on in a few moments. So that's the first piece of our training today.